This season, I've been trying to do more videos looking at winning streaks and losing streaks in the Ontario Hockey League, kind of doing more of an in depth analysis of how teams are doing. And last week, I did a video on the point streak of the Kitchener Rangers. And in the comment section below, someone asked if I could take a look at the Soo Greyhounds. And with the win last night in Windsor, I figured now's a good time to talk about the Soo Greyhounds because they've been playing some great hockey of late. They're right now in the middle of a 5-game winning streak, and they've had a habit of earning wins against some of the top teams in the Western Conference. So let's take a look at this winning streak. It got started on October 18th, a home game against the Flint Firebirds, where they won that game 2-1. They then defeated Sarnia in a shootout 5-4. That was on October 20th. Then on Wednesday, October 23rd, they earned a 5-3 win over the Saginaw Spirit. And to note, they debuted their brand new black third jerseys in that game. So just keep a note on that. And then they played Ottawa on Friday, October 25th. They had the 3-2 win there, also wearing the black thirds. And then last night, they were in Windsor at the WFCU Center, and they defeated the Spitfires 3-1, also wearing their black third jerseys. Usually you don't see OHL teams take their third jerseys on the road. I'm almost wondering if there's some superstition going on in the Greyhounds locker room right now as they're getting wins, 3 straight wins in those black thirds. They look sharp. I haven't seen them in person yet, but they look good, and apparently it makes this team win. We'll see if this continues for the Greyhounds. But before this winning streak, they also earned wins against Kitchener and Saginaw outside of the winning streak. So the Greyhounds, despite their slow start to the regular season, they've found ways to step up their game against some of the top competition in the Western Conference. And it does come down to, I believe, the goaltending of Landon Miller. Miller has been pretty solid during this winning streak. He has a 4-0 record and had to be big last night against the Windsor Spitfires. In the second period alone, Windsor outshot the Greyhounds 15-1, and that didn't really seem to faze Miller all that much. Like I said, he only gave up the 1 goal in the 3-1 victory. And then you look up front too. Some late additions are already contributing because they got Marco Mignosa. He's only played 3 games. He got 2 last night in the first period against the Windsor Spitfires. He has 3 goals, 3 assists, good for 6 points in 3 games, which is remarkable. Mignosa, a big boost offensively. Owen Allard, coming back from the Utah Hockey Club, he's made his presence known. He's got 2 goals, 2 assists in 3 games of work. And then Noel Nord, also coming from the Utah Hockey Club. From the back end, or not from the back end, from the left wing, he's got a goal, 3 assists, 4 points in just 2 games of work. So it seems as though you got the confidence from the goaltending, which has been playing much better of late, and now you're seeing it offensively. The only concern I have with the Soo Greyhounds team is the specialty teams. Their power play second last in the OHL at 9.1%. The only team with a worse power play percentage, the Brantford Bulldogs. And then you look at the penalty kill, it's kind of average right now at 77.8%. So specialty teams could improve, but when you've got Allard, Nord, Mignosa back in the lineup, plus they've got some good young talent up front as well, things are looking up for the Greyhounds, but we'll have to wait and see if this is something that will continue or if they're going to be a team looking to the future. There's still that question mark, I feel, about the Greyhounds. Their draft pick cupboard kind of limited at the moment, but it is nice to see this Greyhounds team competing in a West Division that I, coming into the season, felt was wide open. And the Greyhounds, I thought, if they could string wins together, could make things very interesting in the West. And that's how we're seeing it so far. We're not yet at the quarter mark, but keep an eye on the Soo Greyhounds. Their schedule, it's still pretty challenging coming up because tomorrow night they're in London to face the Knights. They'll look to extend their winning streak to 6 games, but that won't be easy on the road against London. And then on Saturday, they're in Flint to face their division rivals, the Firebirds. After that, they return home to host the Soo Greyhounds and then go on they host the London Knights, and then they go on the road for 2 more games to Kitchener and Flint. So some tough competition still to come in their next handful of games, and we'll see if they can continue this winning streak past 5. Now, there was some big news that came out of Sudbury. Quentin Musty, he is returning to the Sudbury Wolves lineup. Now, if you have been following along, Quentin Musty said he would not report to the Sudbury Wolves and had asked for a trade after he returned from the San Jose Sharks camp. And Mike Greer, the general manager of the San Jose Sharks, last week basically saying to his agent that something needs to be done. They want to see Musty playing, especially if Quentin Musty is going to play for Team USA at the upcoming World Junior Hockey Championships, because he's not going to make the team if he doesn't play. And then the Sudbury Wolves, of course, they had their statement saying that they had the coaching staff in place to help improve Musty's game going forward, and that they weren't going to just trade him for anybody. They were going to wait for a trade that helped the team. So with that, you had the stalemate. It lasted about 3 weeks, but now Musty back with the Sudbury Wolves. He's going to join the team on their road trip, which takes them to Kitchener Friday night, Brantford Saturday, and then Niagara on Sunday. So a really tough road trip ahead for the Sudbury Wolves team, and now they're going to get Quentin Musty back in the lineup. Obviously, it's going to take Musty some time to get back into the swing of things, but you got to wonder, how is this going to impact the room? Because the Sudbury Wolves have been playing some decent hockey despite Musty's absence. Right now, Sudbury, they have a record of 7-5, good for 14 points, and that puts them 5th in the Eastern Conference going into the weekend. So I'm kind of wondering, what's that dynamic going to be like? Is the Sudbury Wolves, are they going to be able to maybe make a trade in the next couple of weeks now that other teams will see what Musty's able to do? I'm wondering if Sudbury waits until the OHL trade deadline in January, because that's when teams can trade their 16-year-olds who they drafted in the first round of the 2024 OHL priority selection. So for Sudbury, probably looking for young talent in return, along with draft picks. So I'm wondering if we won't see Musty moved until January probably at the latest or earliest or whatever. But still, what I mean is that I think the most likely scenario is that Musty gets traded at the OHL trade deadline so that they can recoup some younger talent. And for the Sudbury Wolves, good on them, standing their ground. It's not wanting to just hand out an asset to another team for nothing. Obviously, we've seen a lot of big names already move this year. You think of Colby Barlow. You think of, trying to think, Carson Rakoff, that's the name I'm trying to get to. But we've seen these other players move for big packages. And obviously that wasn't there for Quentin Musty or the Sudbury Wolves. They just had a game plan, and they're looking at the OHL trade deadline because they want those 16-year-olds. So we'll wait and see how this weekend pans out. Very curious about how this is going to work. Will Musty have a big game Friday in Kitchener, or will it take him some time to get back into the swing of things? So big question marks there. Now, finally, the OHL has announced they have a new director of player safety. So Greg Kimmerly has been hired. This was one thing that came out during the offseason from Brian Crawford, the new OHL commissioner. He wanted to bring in a director of player safety, and they looked, and they've hired a former referee. Now, Kimmerly, he was an OHL ref from 1990 to 1993, and then was an NHL referee for 1,149 games. And that was from 1993 until 2016. So he has an understanding of the game. He's going to be working alongside Barclay Branch, who is the vice president of hockey operations, as well as the director of officiating, Conrad Hache, as they work to deal with on-ice situations and discipline. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out with Greg Kimmerly taking over. I'm curious to see if we'll get more explanations as regards to suspensions when they are handed out, as this league, I think, is trying to become a little more transparent. But that's where we're at right now. That's how I see it from the booth. I know this is a quicker video for this week, but still, let me know in the comments section down below your thoughts on the Soo Greyhounds winning streak or on the Quentin Musty situation, as it's all fascinating stuff right now in the Ontario Hockey League. So don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Talk to you again soon.